bit of an untraditional intro this time around. The video you just saw was cut and edited in Zoner Photo Studio. And within the next several episodes, I'd like to go over and take you through the video editor within Zoner Photo Studio and all the different things that we can do with it. And in today's video, we'll be going over just the default settings and some of the basics of getting you up and running in the video editor in Zoner Photo Studio. So let's stop wasting time and let's go check it out. Okay, so to start things off, I recommend creating a new folder where you'll organize and keep all the files you need for each video. Whether those are video files, music and sound files that you want to use, or pictures. Make sure that you name them so that you know what each of the folders contain. The video editor itself can be found in the Create module at the bottom of all the products we have there. We'll choose a new project, and the first thing that we strongly recommend to do is to rename it. To rename it, click here and write the name that you'd like. This is an important step because if we don't name our projects, then we'll just have a list of the same thing, which will be called new project, and we'll have no idea which one is which, and it just complicates things. And now comes some very important information, and I'm talking about the settings for our project. The first thing we'll do is look at the video resolution, and we've got plenty of options to choose from here. Say you've recorded a video in full HD, then you should choose this option here as well. But if you choose the 4K option, that is not going to mean that the original video will all of a sudden gain a better resolution. We can't simply bypass reality, and because the full HD doesn't have the same amount of information as a 4K would, there's no way that we can ever create a 4K from a full HD clip. Now there are reasons for raising or lowering the resolution, but we'll discuss those in another video. So as a rule of thumb, we use the same resolution as the original video taken. All right, now that we've got the resolution parameters out of the way, let's turn our focus to FPS, or frames per second, and that's also called frame rate, which is another parameter that deserves some initial attention when starting out a project. It's important to also use the same rate that we used in the original recording. If we select a different value than the original, then the video will appear to cut off and then back on again. So stick with the same settings you used when you were recording the video. If you don't know what the frame rate was when you recorded, then you can just simply go to the settings in the window or folder where the original video file is located. In practice, we can only split our FPS by half, and this means that if we recorded a video in 50 frames per second, then we can change it to 25 in post-production, and we won't see any negative effects. But I strongly recommend not changing it if we want the video to look like the original. And for the video that we'll be using today, it was recorded in 25 frame rate, so I'll be sticking to the 25 FPS in Zoner Photo Studio X. Now let's check out how to work with the timeline as well as cutting and trimming. To access videos, just use the navigator as you would with your regular photography work. And once you find your folder, you'll find your files laid out here in the film strip below, just like when working with your photographs. It's the exact same approach you would take when using the Develop module, or also when sorting and viewing in the Manager module. Adding files to the timeline is super easy. Just drag and drop them onto the timeline where you'd like them to be. And we can also select multiple files and drop them on there as well. Notice we've got two channels on the timeline. One is V1 and the other is A1. And as you probably guessed, the V1 is for video tracks and the A is for audio tracks. You can adjust the volume and opacity on each track, or you can lock the clip entirely to avoid any accidental clicks or changes to the clip while you're working on another one. And also, by clicking on the gear wheel here, you can add additional audio or video tracks. By using this, you can create the animated text you see here, or you can create other effects which we'll go over in more detail in another video. Okay, good. Now let's cover how exactly to trim and cut video. Say we want to split and cut the video up right here. We'll leave the video playhead at this minute, and we can either use the scissors here or use the C on your keyboard, which of course is faster. But there's another way, and we can do that by clicking and dragging the part of the clip that we don't need. And we do that by clicking and dragging it manually to the spot we want. But we're going to use the C key and simply delete the part that we don't need. Just be careful that you don't leave an empty space here in the timeline, because an empty space after exporting would simply result in just a black screen for the amount of time that's missing in the timeline. We can move the clip with our mouse, or we can click in an empty space, hit the delete button, which will allow the empty space to be filled in with the closest video. Now we'll add another short video that I want to link to the first one, and again, by using the playhead, we can specify which part of the clip we want to use. And again, we can fill in this empty part of the timeline by using our mouse to move the clip, or again, clicking in an empty spot and hitting delete. So these are the basics of trimming and cutting, and now we can start adding additional effects like transitions, but we'll be covering transitions in another video to save time. Now we'll cover the last part in this video, which will be about inserting and overriding. We'll find those functions right here. When we select the insert function, this allows us to place a clip from our film strip directly between two existing clips. If we select the overwrite mode though, then when we do the exact same thing as before with a new clip, and it touches one of our existing clips, then it simply replaces that one with the new one we selected. Once you want to export the video into its final iteration, simply click Export and then Save. Here you can still choose the resolution, quality, frame rate, and so on. The same still applies though, as we said at the beginning of this video, so that if you want your video to look good, then just keep the same settings as the original video. Alright, so that was the basic overview of how to use the video editor in Zoner Photo Studio. There are, of course, plenty of other things that we can do with the video editor, like color corrections or adjusting the exposure and so on, but we'll be covering those in the additional videos that will be forthcoming. I hope you enjoyed this basic video about how to get started. If you like it, give us a thumbs up, let us know what you think below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, take care. See you later.